previously, in episode 4 of Solo Leveling, Sun Jinwoo had gotten the key to the Phantom Dungeon as a reward for completing his daily task, so he decided to explore there to level up. And after a handful of struggles, he started to learn from his experience about real combat and slowly wipes out all the low-level beasts to level up, and finally there was only the dungeon boss left. So Jinwoo clenched his fists and jumped into the fight the boss, but his blade was useless against its armored scales, so from then on he had a hard time landing a fatal hit. He felt powerless just like he was in front of the god statue, and that motivated him. He killed the snake with his bare hands and cleared out the dungeon. He was the weakest E-rank hunter in history, but now he's starting to glow up. Every nurse in the hospital was fawning over Jinwoo because his body has started to glow up. And the girls can't help but fantasize about having a boyfriend like him. There one of the nurse gets to his room and saw his neat and clean body and got lost for a moment. But she tells Jinwoo that he could get discharged now, so he should meet up at the counter to fill out the papers. Since that was done, she asked Jinwoo for his contact info. But Jinwoo thought she would send his test results, so he agreed. Jinwoo was a late bloomer, but after that, at the news interview, the press just landed an interview with the 7th S-rank hunter of Korea, Beck, and the interview goes on for the daily life of S-rank hunters. And Jina was watching the show, but she realized time's up and she needed to leave for school, so Jinwoo stops her and gives the umbrella for just in case. After which she saw his daily training was almost complete and only running 10 miles was left, so first he distribute his collected points in his stats. He carefully divided his points but focuses mainly on agility and strength, but then he got a phone call from his landowner because Jinwoo forgot to pay the rent. So he quickly sends the money to the owner, and unlike before, Jinwoo knew he could easily earn money for his rent with dungeon raids, so he searched through the raids list. But an E-rank can't join the D or C rank dungeon raids where he could earn more money, and for that he needs to raise his rank by re-evaluation. And a hunter whose power grows limitlessly would surely attract unwanted attention, so Jinwoo decided to keep his powers a secret until he was powerful enough to defend himself and his family. So he joined a C-rank raid with a party. A C-rank raiders team needs 8 persons, so Hwang Dong hired Jinwoo just to fill the quota. After that, he gives a contract to Jinwoo. His job is to sit back and watch, and for that, he could get 200,000. All he needs is to carry their stuff, which has supplies. There Jinwoo noticed their party had no healers but only damage dealers, which was bugging him, and one of the newbies just like him came to get familiar with Jinwoo. He's Yu Jinho, a D-rank hunter, but his gear were extreme. Then the party gets ready, but the size of the gate was bigger than of the normal C-rank gates. So Jinwoo tells them that the Hunter Association evaluates gates rank by the magic power they emit, so if it's a C rank, then it won't be that dangerous. With that everyone follows Dong's lead. And the pitch-black dungeon reminds Jinwoo of the double dungeon, but a bit later they noticed a 3-way path, and even after roaming for a while they didn't come across even a single magic beast. So Jinwoo guessed that beasts hadn't shown themselves yet, but they are near. They lurk in large numbers as he heard their noise. And Jinwoo warns everybody that magic beasts are insects-type beasts. And they are coming from above. They were the ant-type beast and the party gets into action. Their Hwang Dong used a taunt skill to attract all the ants to his place and his mage started to cast a spell to wipe them out in a single swap. With that a large number was killed and they proved they were working well as a team. They lack a healer but they make up for it by their teamwork. As for Jinho, he works out because of his gear. But Jinwoo doesn't need anyone. And so on, no injury or casualties were inflicted, and the party began to gather essence stone. Their Dong thanked Jinwoo for the heads up from earlier. For an E-rank he was sharp. So Jinwoo makes up that he relied on his instinct, but the mage called Dong to show the ants that were killed differently from swords or magic. Dong didn't know and thought ants and other beasts must have fought a turf battle, which means there is something else, like a bigger prey around, so Jinwoo asks Jinho about his gear. And he tells him it was his first dungeon raid, so his father prepared this expensive gear for him, and hearing this, Jinwoo felt he should be careful from now on. And way from there at the White Tiger Guild, a mini earthquake was happening because their guild leader Beck was having his training session. He made a hole in a giant stone like it was nothing for him, and that shows how powerful a S-rank hunter could be, so that brings us back to Jinwoo. They were exploring the dungeon. But Jinwoo was having doubts because this deal was way too good, like no fighting yet gaining 200,000. So he feels something was off about the party with no healer. But then they came near the dungeon boss chamber as they saw many of the spider silks, but the boss chamber was filled with mana crystals, so they hit the jackpot this time. And Huang Dong thinks of his little brother and thought of showing this off. There the party decided to split the loot in 7 ways, so Jinho asked Jinwoo to show his contract. He reads it out and told Huang Dong that in this contract Jinwoo won't get battle drops, but there was nothing about excavated mana crystals, so Jinwoo should also get a share in this loot. Huang Dong agreed with a big smile, but he showed the concern of the sleeping boss, and if they beat the boss, the gate would close out, so they have to mine the loot before it wakes up. But his party didn't bring the mining tools, so Dong asked Jinho and Jinwoo to stay here while they bring the tools back. He leaves with his full party, and Jinwoo saw that if they leave them here, there would be 2 less people to enter the dungeon. It's against the law of Hunter Association unless they have regular people to fill the head count. And right there the mage blasted the way out and trapped Jinwoo and Jinho. Jinwoo realized they were criminal type hunters that Chiyul had warned him about. There is no camera or witness in the dungeon, and if a hunter kills someone where no one noticed in dungeon, no one will find out about their crime. And Jinho thought they did this because he asked Jinwoo's share in the loot, but more importantly, that blast just woke up the boss from his sweet dreams. And even Jinwoo felt for a moment of its strength gap. He thought the spider was on a whole different level, but remembering that God statues, it's nothing more than a bug compared to that. So Jinwoo gets ready to show some actions with his one-on-one fight. But that's where the episode 5 of Solo Leveling ends. Stay tuned to watch another episode of this anime on my channel, and if you haven't seen any of the episodes of this anime, please check out the playlist named Solo Leveling on my channel. With that, take care.